Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to discuss about how to send data from child component to parent component as a number, right? So in last session, we discussed how to send the data in form of string. But yes, there might be some requirement in project where you are supposed to send the data in numeric data type, right? So in that case, how we can write the syntax, what would be the changes needed, these all things we will be discussing in this particular session. But before we proceed further, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow them sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic. Because for time being, we are just mainly focusing on how to pass data from child component to parent component as a number. Okay, so let's just start from the scratch itself. Okay, so firstly we would need one child component to perform this thing. So let's create that child component. I'll simply go to this terminal, click on new terminal. Here we will write the command ng space g space c, and we will put the name of our component. So I want to create it with name login. Then simply hit enter. It will take few seconds and it will create all 4 files for you that is needed for a component. Now next, what we will do, we will connect this component with our app component. So for that, simply go to this login.component.ts file. From here, just copy the selector. So this is the basic thing that we have already done so many times, right? That's why I'm doing it speedily, but because our main topic is how to pass numeric data, so that I'll show in detail. Okay, so I'll just simply copy the selector from here and remember this name. Now simply go to this app.component.ts file. Here firstly we need to register our component, so here I will write login component, and you can see this import line is added. Now simply go to this app.component.html file. Here we will use that selector as a tag. What it will do, it will connect your application, your child component which is login component with the app component. Okay, that's it. So now you can simply save these 2 files and let's see if it is working as expected or not. So simply write here ng serve, which will run the application in open -- open, which will automatically open the browser for us. So if there is any perfect, so it is working perfectly. You can see here login works is coming, which we are expecting, because in login.component.html5 login works was mentioned. Alright, so let's close this application for time being, and let's write the code to send the data from parent component to from child component to parent component. For that we will be using output decorator. So let's go to this login.component.ts file. Here we will firstly, okay, let me go one by one as per the requirement. Okay, so what we will do, suppose we want to send the user ID. Okay, so this is my user ID where I have stored 50. So this is the user ID which I want to send from child component to parent component. So we have set the ID. Now to send this data, we need to establish one connection between the child data and child component and parent component. So for that purpose, we will use output decorator. So you just need to write here @output. And remember, this is case sensitive, so always make sure to provide it in a right case. Okay, so you can see automatically output is added here. If it is not, you can simply write output in the same way. Okay, then after output we will mention the opening closing parenthesis. Then we will mention the variable, or you can say the establishing name, right? So I want to send it through my output, or yeah, that is good, my output. Then colon, and then we are supposed to pass the type, data type. Okay, so for that we will write here event emitter. Okay, and in angular bracket we will mention the type. So I want to send number data, then equal, and here we will write new event emitter closing parenthesis and colon. So this is the main line which will help us to send or to emit the data, and that data will store this value. Okay, So we have established this thing. Now it's time to send the data. So to send the data, like here in Angular we can't send it directly. We will use one function for it. So let's define that function. So to define the function, you just need to write here function name. So I want to create it with name send data, opening closing parenthesis, opening closing curly braces. Here we will write this dot my output dot this dot my output dot emit. Emit will help us to send the data. Which data? This dot user ID. Perfect. So what this line will do, this line will emit the data from child component. Okay, but how we will call this function? So to call this function, or to provide a way to call this function, we will declare one button. So let's go to this login.component.html. Here we will write the button, and description would be click this button to send user ID. Okay, so this is the description. Now we will bound this button with some event, and I'm going to use the click event. So I will simply write here click. And remember one thing, like whenever we are binding it, if you are using curly brace, if you are using parenthesis, that means you are binding some event, and if you are using square bracket, that means you are binding some property. But right now we are binding the event, so that's why I'm using Angular. Sorry, not Angular, parenthesis. Then you can write here equal, and then the name of your function, which is send data. Perfect. So from child component we are done with all the things. Like we have created one button which will help us to call this function. Inside this function we are asking to send the data through my output, which is a collection we have established, and it will help us to emit the data, and data is user ID. Perfect. Now what we will do, we will receive this data where? In parent component. So let's simply go to the parent component, and in parent component we will firstly go to this HTML file where we will mention like we are going to receive the data. So we will ask the parent component to listen for the input. Okay, so for that purpose what we will do here, we will simply write that we are going we will bound the event. So parenthesis my output. So we are just instructing that we are going to receive my output through function. So we will write here get data, and inside this we will write event. So what it will do, it will look for this event which will be receiving in my output function, and which will be receiving as a my output from a child component using this function. So let's define this get data function. Go to this app.component.ts file. Here we will define the function, and we all know that while defining the function we also need one variable. So let's define the variable first. Here I'll write message as a variable name, colon, type would be number, and for now I'm initializing the value as 0. Alright, so now let's define the function get data, and in this get data we are going to receive the value as number. So write like this, value as number, and now we will simply assign this value to this dot message equal value. Perfect. So what it will do now, it will receive this value as a message, and then we will go to this app.component.html where we will print this value in a paragraph. So I'll write paragraph. This is the user ID. So once user click on button, we will show this ID here. So here I'm bounding this message. Perfect. Now it's time to run this application. So let's save all the file and make sure that all files are saved, otherwise it might cause error. And to run this application we will write here ngserve -- open and wait for few seconds. So if there is any error, it will show the error, otherwise it will open the browser. So you can see browser is open, that means there is no error. So currently we can see it shows Angular by Sharmit, which is the text coming from angular.component.ts HTML file. Then login works coming from child component HTML file, and this button is also coming from there. And this is the data which we have mentioned. This is the text which we have mentioned in the parent component, which is coming with 0 value, because by default we have set it with 0 value. But when the user click on this button, click this button to send user ID. So if you click on this button, it will show 50 as a value. So from where we are getting this 50? We are getting this 50 value from a child component. Okay, so this is what we were expecting from this program, and we have successfully built a way to send the data as a number data type from child component to parent component. Okay, so I hope this entire session is clear to all of you. If you have any doubts, please ask in the comment section. I would be more than happy to answer and help you there. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.